Welcome to the Living a Nordic Life podcast, where we explore a simpler, cosier and more intentional life the Nordic way. I'm Fiona McKenna, your Nordic living guide and founder of Living a Nordic Life, where I share all things Nordic living and show you that a Nordic life is the way to bring intentional calm and healthy habits into your own life, wherever you are in the world. Are you looking for ways to bring simplicity, coziness and calm into your life? Well, let me show you how. Visit the Living a Nordic Life website to explore how I can help you on your journey to simple, healthy and happy calm, the Nordic way. You can subscribe to the podcast right here. And if you want regular inspirational emails sent with love from Norway and straight to your inbox, don't forget to subscribe to the Living a Nordic Life newsletters. And so now let's dive into our episode. Let's talk about some Nordic winter outdoor habits. And if you are listening to this at the point at which I recorded it, which is January, you'll listen to it in February, you're in the middle of winter probably if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, but it might be that you are coming back to this and you're in the Southern Hemisphere and you're coming back to it in 6 months' time when it's your winter. Or you come back to it maybe later in the year in preparation for winter. Who knows? But let's talk about winter because we're right in the middle of it here in Norway. And I feel that this is probably the hardest time because we have had the beginning of winter and that excitement when the snow first falls. And it's lovely that, even if you get 6 months of snow a year, that first snowfall is always exciting, especially when you've had a grey autumn and suddenly the snow falls and it covers everything and it's quiet and everything's beautifully white and pristine. And it's also really bright because the sun reflects off it. So we suddenly get this kind of massive injection of sunlight. It's incredible. But it can be dark. The days are shorter, the nights are longer. And if we have a lot of snow, then the sky can be quite dark and a little bit oppressive. And of course it's cold. It's very cold. Down to, certainly in my part of Norway, in the south, we can be down to minus 20 degrees centigrade constantly for weeks. Not so bad today, I have to say. It's only -7. Feels like a summer's day here. It's wonderful. And for outsiders, it can seem like a season to hibernate indoors. A time to put on layers of blankets, waiting for the sun to come back. We do get sun, but waiting for that warmth of the sun. And I know that a lot of people really struggle with winter. You don't have to live in the Nordics. You don't have to be anywhere extreme to have trouble with winter. People love autumn because it feels colourful and there's an abundance of things like berries and nuts and mushrooms growing in the forests or even in the verges, or in a park. It's lovely. You can see all these things. And then winter suddenly comes. It's like, will it ever end? You just want spring, don't you? You want spring and Easter, and that kind of rebirth. But we have to get through winter. And it is much better to find things that make you happy, that bring you some simple moments of joy and help you get through it than to be struggling and just waiting, for one day to come when it's going to go away. It's much better that we enjoy it and make the most of it. And there are some things that people do here in the Nordics that really help them enjoy winter. They look forward to it. Yes, I kid you not, they do. So let's talk about that because it's not a time for stagnation. It's a season to embrace the outdoors, to connect with nature, because nature is still there, even though it might feel like everything is dead. It's not, it's just dormant. And to nurture some mental and physical well-being. We don't need to go and sit on the settee watching Netflix or whatever, for 6 months of the year. We need to get outside, and that will actually make us feel happier. It raises our level of happiness. Across Norway, Sweden, Finland, Denmark, and Iceland, centuries-old habits rooted in a deep respect for nature offer lessons in thriving through those coldest months. So, let's look at some things that we do here that make us happy in the winter. One of them is friluftsliv. That's open air living. That's getting outside And it's a Norwegian thing. I mean, it's everywhere in the Nordics, I guess, but I mean, it's particularly well known here in Norway. And it translates roughly as open air life. It basically means the time that you spend outside. And it is really central to Nordic winter culture. It's actually central to culture generally. And if you embrace it in the warmer months, it's much easier to bring it into the winter. But that doesn't mean you don't need to start now. It's the idea that time spent outside is really, really good for physical health, for mental clarity, and general happiness. It's something that's even taught at school. Kids learn very early on, from kindergarten actually, that if you're feeling a bit grumpy and a bit unhappy, that getting outside will make you happier. And it really does. You don't need to be some kind of, extreme sportsman or hiking long expeditions or a mountaineer. Even a short walk in the forest or the park, a winter picnic, just taking your coffee outside actually is enough. Or a bit of a snowshoe trek if you get some snow, or if you do get snow and you wouldn't normally get snow, put your warm clothes on and go out in it. It's fun. Even that can make a difference, a big difference to how you feel. Friluftsliv encourages mindfulness. It allows you to notice the details of the landscape in the winter, because things do look different to the summer. There are no leaves on the trees, there's more open landscapes, and the clarity of the air is amazing as well. You can see much further in the winter. That feeling of the crunch of the ice beneath your feet, or maybe the quiet ripple of a frozen stream. Research confirms that spending time in nature reduces stress, lowers blood pressure, and it improves your mood. All these things are crucial for the long, dark winters. You don't actually need research. You don't need to go looking for medical research papers in this. All you need to do is go outside and see how you feel. It's as simple as that. No app. There's no magic in it. Put your shoes on, put on a warm coat, go outside. Don't go outside for 2 minutes. Go outside for 20 minutes, half an hour, even longer if you can. And you will feel that your stress starts to go, and you start to feel happier. Here in the Nordics, we often spend weekends and evenings outside. We walk, we ski. Everybody skis here. Could even ski from my front door almost, that's how close the ski tracks are, cross-country skiing. Or we sit by a frozen lake. A lot of people do ice fishing, actually, I have to say. I saw somebody the other day in the middle of the lake, sitting there hunched over, waiting to catch something in the lake. But it reminds us that winter doesn't need to confine us to our homes. We don't have to do that. We can get out. We're allowed. You are allowed to allow yourself. This is your permission to go outside. The other thing is walking and hiking through snowy landscapes. I love doing that, I have to say, because everything's much more accessible. It's frozen and it's covered in snow. You can walk anywhere. It's more than exercise in the winter. It's kind of a practice of endurance and a little bit of sisu, that Finnish, grit, and some mindfulness as well. We are lucky here in the Nordics, I have to say, because we have an awful lot of marked trails. They're not always easy to get through, I have to say, because not that many people walk on them. It's a big place, small population, so people do walk on them, but it's not like the UK, for example, where everything is really well trodden. But even under deep snow, they remain accessible. It might be a forest trail in Sweden, a fjord path in Norway, or a gentle hill in Iceland. Walking outside gives us cardiovascular benefits, raises our heart rate, it strengthens our muscles, especially our core, because, if you're walking on ice and snow, I can promise you, and on rocks, you need to hold in those tummy muscles. And it boosts vitamin D levels when daylight allows. We actually have to have the sun above a certain level in the horizon, but you're still out there, aren't you? You're getting the sunlight into your retina. That's what you need, 15 minutes of that into your retina in the morning. Clothing is important though. Simple and effective winter gear. Insulated layers, lots of layers, wool socks, keep you warm, and definitely waterproof boots, particularly if you're walking in mud and snow. And don't let the mud put you off either. Go out in it. It washes off. And, of course, a hat. And definitely gloves, I have to say, because you want to keep your head warm, don't you? You feel pretty grotty if your ears start to get cold quickly. But hiking in the winter also teaches us a level of navigating snowy terrain, improves balance and focus. And we have something here called Allemansrätt, which is every man's right, which is this really, really beloved law that you are allowed to walk anywhere. So anywhere that is public land, like mountains or forests, anywhere that is not fenced in, we can walk on. And in the winter as well, because the fields are not being used, if they're covered in snow, we are also allowed to walk on those. So people do like to get outside with a level of responsibility, I have to say, because we don't leave our litter behind. We take everything away. And this is great, especially in the winter, because you can go anywhere. Another thing everybody loves doing here is cross-country skiing and snowshoeing. Cross-country skiing, especially in my part of Norway. I have to say I'm not a skier. I started my chef career, because I'm a cordon bleu chef by trade, at a ski resort in the Alps in Val d'Isère. And I was working there. It was quite a big chalet. It had like 35 guests. And I learnt to ski on the slopes in Val d'Isère. And if you've ever been there, the piste, the black slopes, come straight down through the nursery slopes. And it's chaos. They might have changed it slightly. This was quite a long time ago. But I learnt to ski there, but I wasn't very good, I have to say. And it frightened me a little bit, having all these people coming down really fast past me, when I was trying to learn to ski. And I've never really been one for it, not even cross-country skiing. I do ice skate, I have to say, and I love ice skating here. But my children love skiing, especially my youngest, who skis with school on a Monday. They have outdoor day on a Monday, and the cross-country ski tracks are cut by the council around every village and through the landscapes and everywhere. So you can literally just park your car, put your skis on, ski for 20 kilometres if you want to, from one place to the next, or round in a circle. And the skis are all around the school, so they're able to put their skis on and go skiing with the class. It's brilliant. It combines cardiovascular exercise, strength training, because you have to keep upright, and the joy of gliding through a pristine snowy landscape. You get to see all those things that you probably wouldn't normally see. You wouldn't normally see on the car, because you're taken through the forests, on the tracks, and all over the place. These extensive ski trails in Finland, Norway and Sweden go through forests, along frozen lakes, even over frozen lakes, and up gentle hills. Even short outings, 30 minutes. It can invigorate your body and lift the spirits. And you'll meet other people as well, coming and going. Snowshoeing is another accessible winter activity. Unlike skiing, it doesn't need any kind of special skills. You could just walk. Although it's not terribly easy, I have to say, because you have these enormous things on your feet, a bit like boats, small boats. But it does allow you to explore those areas that you wouldn't be able to see if you were walking, because you can walk on deep snow. Both of these things encourage a slow, mindful movement in nature, and that embraces mental well-being. Winter swimming and sauna rituals. Now, if you go to any seaside area in Norway these days, you will see these funny little wooden cabins. And sometimes they're on wheels, and quite often they're on wheels, actually, I have to say, down by the sea. And they are saunas, and they have like a keypad on them, and you can rent them for an hour, a day, just you can join some other people, and you go in the sauna and then you go in the sea. And this might sound like something that you only do in the summer. Not the Norwegians. They like to do it in the winter as well. This kind of cold exposure outside is something that people love here. It's traditional to combine these sauna sessions with a dip in icy lakes or rivers. people break through the ice to go in. You have to be very careful with that though. Don't just go doing that yourself. Winter swimming, followed by the warmth of a sauna, has been linked to increased circulation, reduced inflammation, improved immune function and stress reduction. It's also been linked to better brain function. I read somewhere recently that it really sharpens you up. I mean, I can imagine it would. But you don't need to dive into icy waters. You can if you want to, or go and watch it. It's something else to be seen, I have to say. People going in swimsuits, wearing gloves and hats. It's like, woo. And they're literally only in for a few minutes, I have to say. But if you want to do it at home, you can alternate between some kind of brisk outdoor activity and then some sort of warm relaxation. It kind of mimics that same principle. A walk in the cold air followed by a hot shower, or cozying up by a fire, that kind of produces those similar benefits. It helps your body to adapt to temperature changes, and it stimulates body and mind. And it's a bit of fun, isn't it? Something different. I mean, really, how many people do you know who do that? You know, come on, do something different and exciting. Something I like to do in the winter is mindful nature observation, and especially when we get to this point where it's later in the winter and things are starting to grow. Everything is serene. It's often untouched by human activity because things are so far away from civilization. And here in the Nordics, we like to practice mindful observation in nature. We listen to the stillness, we watch the birds, or we notice the first patterns on branches. For me, it's always the first willow coming out. I like to bring those little branches inside when I see the buds and I can watch them come out, just cut a few, because it's very common. But for a lot of people, it's seeing the first flowers as well. We have something here called blåveis, which is a blue wood anemone. And it's always the first thing to come out. And it will come out in flower through the snow. And as soon as people see that, they're photographing it and sharing it on social media and telling people, I've seen the first flowers. It's very exciting. But for yourself, even a 10-minute walk outside, or standing outside quietly in the forest or a park, it can reset mental fatigue, it can boost your mood, and it creates this sense of connection with nature and the seasons, which is very important. And if we live in cities or towns, we can miss that. Social outdoor activities. Community and connection are integral to Nordic winter life. Families, friends and neighbours gather for outdoor activities like sledding, skating, ice fishing, or evening walks. I have an example of this actually. We have a local lake. It's a big lake actually, and there's ice skating on it and skiing all around it on the lake itself in the winter. And bollpanna, which are tripod barbecues that you grill over. Very safe, and we can use those any time of year because the fire is contained. But I went to walk the dog there one morning, and I could see this group of people, and somebody was shouting me. And I looked over, and it was a lady I know from the village, from school, who'd seen me, and she was waving and shouting. And it was early in the morning, and she and her friends had all gathered to spend the day there, presumably. They had their coffee and their breakfast, and they were doing outdoorsy things, just being out in nature. And it was one of those days when it was very cold. It was about -15, I would guess, easily. And they'd got themselves set up, and they were having a fantastic time, socialising outdoors. But these moments strengthen social bonds. And it's keeping those things compartmentalised as well, which they love here in the Nordics. But it's really good for mental health during those long, dark winters. It's an excuse to get outside, isn't it? We have an awful lot of nature here. So even Nordic cities have frozen lakes or ice skating rinks, man-made ice skating rinks outside. And small towns encourage winter sports events that are both fun and inclusive. They're there for everybody. Participating in social outdoor activities combines the benefits of exercise, sunlight exposure, because you're usually outside for a while, aren't you? And social interaction. Gives you a chance to talk to people and have a laugh. We need that. All of this is a boost for your well-being. Don't be alone inside. Planning for daylight and fresh air. People in the Nordics are really aware of seasonal challenges, particularly the lack of daylight in January. That's even though, my part of Norway, we're getting 5 minutes more daylight every day. So by the end of the week, you really do notice it, but it still feels dark. It can still feel dark and interminable, to be honest. But most of us adjust our schedules to make the most of the natural light. We go out in the morning and we take outdoor breaks as well to maintain that circadian rhythm. It's important, that, isn't it? Even small habits like a short daily walk at lunchtime. You can do that at any time of year. It doesn't have to be the winter necessarily, but start now. Or you can open your windows for fresh air, and that improves mood and energy levels. I read something funny actually on social media. It was an article in a newspaper. I read it last week. It was called "This New Thing, Burping Your Home." And when I read it, it was basically opening your windows. And it was supposed to be something new. But, we've been doing it for a long time, haven't we? Ever since people had houses, they've been opening windows. So do that. It might be a little bit cold, but if you can, even just for a couple of minutes, or open the window and just stand there with the window open. It changes the air, doesn't it? And freshens everything up. These things are subtle, but they are powerful reminders that well-being in winter does require intention and consistency. You can do it. I know you can. Because this Nordic approach to winter demonstrates that well-being is not about avoiding the cold. It's there. You can either be miserable inside and it'll be cold, or you can be happy outside and it'll be cold. But here's one thing, it's still going to be cold and it's still going to be winter. So you need to make the choice about whether you're going to closet yourself up and, go into spring feeling unhealthy and sluggish, or if you're going to go into spring feeling, revitalised and knowing that you've made the most of winter. And who knows, you might even start looking forward to next winter. Yep, it can happen. You could be Nordic, you see, and actually start looking forward to the next winter. It's true. But you could take a slow forest walk. You can do some cross-country skiing if you have that opportunity, or just get outside with some friends. Grill something if possible. Take a flask of coffee and a cake outside and meet at a park bench. But by embracing friluftsliv and moving mindfully and connecting with nature and the community, anyone can transform the dark months into a period of growth, calm and rejuvenation. It's a good time to do it. So this February, March, April even, if that's still winter for you, take a page from the Nordic culture. Step outside, take a deep breath, and let winter improve your well-being. And then you'll be fighting fit for spring. And I'll see you in the next episode. If you've enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to the Living a Nordic Life newsletters so you can get an email when I release a new episode. It's a quick and easy way to keep up with all things Nordic living. Please visit livinganordiclife.com. You can listen to Living a Nordic Life on lots of podcast apps, including Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcasts, and plenty of others. If you've enjoyed the Living a Nordic Life podcast, why not leave me a rating? So that's the end of Living a Nordic Life for today, and I look forward to seeing you next time.